Good morning, everyone. This is Robben West. I'm in Oakhurst, California. It's in the center of California. And we are blessed to live in the mountains close to Yosemite National Park. Love it up here. It is beautiful. There's so many gorgeous places in our country, isn't there? And I just want to welcome you from all parts of the United States and Canada. And if you're elsewhere, thank you for being here. And if you're brand new, we're going to be focusing on giving to you some fun information about Avini Health, about Mark and I, our lives, and Chip and Marcy, Little John, their lives. We've just had so much fun being part of our Avini family. Thank you all that are here and you're already a part of the family. Want you to know that you are so special to the family. You each bring your own, what I call superpowers or gifts that add to this wonderful family of getting out our message of health and wealth in every area of your life, abundance, health and abundance. We have a beautiful message here. We have a company that has been put together by some amazing men and their wives, and we are so blessed to have Rick Deitch, our biochemist, who is our CSO, who actually, Mark and I, because of Marcy and Chip, we met in 2006 and have followed him all these years. And we are loyal and sticking to him wherever he goes. And thank Rick and also his wife, Liz, and Neil Roth and Claire, his wife, and Doug Dickey and his wife, Gabby. They have come together and created this beautiful company for us to come and have a safe place to express ourselves, to care about others, to get healthy and have vibrance in our life, and also to have incredible incomes just by sharing what we know and what we've experienced. I just thought I'd give a quick background. Mark and I have been married going on 38 years. And it was interesting getting together the year we got together, the month we got together. We got married, purchased a home, and opened a business. I would not recommend that. It was quite stressful, but we were young and it was a wonderful experience. But we found that being self-employed and owning our own businesses, especially when we opened up our little Foster's Freeze here in Oakhurst, California years ago, we ended up having a lot of employees and we were tied to the business. We had about 25 young high schoolers working for us, and that was quite an experience. We were in our 30s, thank the Lord, because we had lots of energy and vitality at that point, and we needed it. But we discovered through that we weren't sure we wanted to have employees. We wanted to be self-employed and make our own decisions. So when were introduced to network marketing, it was fabulous. It was wonderful. We got to work with people as a team. We all owned our own business, but we worked together, and that synergy created an amazing business, but also got to help lots of people. Had a great experience with that company. And that's where we met Chip and Marcy Littlejohn. And I'm so grateful for those years of knowing them, although they were not on the same team as us as far as we were cousins in that company. But Marcy and Chip came to Fresno, California. Their nephew, Doug Griffith, who's a great friend of ours now, too, of course, is it was here in that area. And Marcy and Chip would come in their beautiful RV. And we're going to have Marcy share a little bit about her background in the RV business, but came in their beautiful RV, drove down, spent a few days, and just worked with everyone in the area, including Mark and I. And that's how we got to know them. And then later on, that business was not right for us. We moved on and we found other things. Actually, Mark went into window covering installing, and he'd grown up in that business. His mom and dad had a workroom years ago, and I actually worked in that workroom when we were dating some. And then later on, we decided to open up our own workroom and I made draperies and had a crew that it was very interesting, but it was a lot of hard work, physical. And Mark was out there doing the installing with his brother, and we had a very fun few years there, but we decided we wanted to be on our own. We ended up coming to Oakhurst, opening up our restaurant, and we had that for 7 years and decided we didn't want to do that any longer. But then we found through a mutual friend, and I want to tell you, it's very important we talk to people and we tell everyone what we're doing in a loving way and just sharing what we do. And that's about really getting out of yourself, I think, and going just making friends and being interested in them. And then they want to know what you're doing, but then getting the word out. Because here's how we got reconnected with Marcy and Chip. We had a friend, Gary Stoller, beautiful, wonderful guy that was just very loving and caring and always wanted to help people. And he got reacquainted. Marcy and Chip and he and their kids had shown cattle and done a lot of that thing. And so had my sister, and Glenna knew Gary very well. That's how I met Gary. And so it's interesting how all those beautiful divine interventions happen and people get together. And Gary saw Chip and Marcy shortly after they'd gotten into the company with Rick Deitch. And they were sharing his Cell Defender, his zeolite product at that point. And Gary got some help overnight with his feet. He had terrible acid in the feet and he could hardly walk most of the time. Overnight, with Marcy, he purchased some bottles and he got that relief overnight. And he called me that next day and said, "You've got to call Marcy Littlejohn. Glenna, my sister, needs this product." And so I called Marcy. And I said, "I don't know if you remember me." She says, "Oh, yeah, I sure do." So that was our beginning of working together with Rick and his wonderful, very unique, incredible, life-changing products. And so here we are. History has just been amazing. We have such a legacy that we've built here with Avini now, and being able to work with Marcy and Chip has been fantastic. They're our bestest friends. We just love them. Wish we didn't live so far away. We don't get to be with each other in person very often, but it sure is fun when we get together, and we have so much fun long distance, as we have with all of you. Thank you all for being here. And I hope you get inspired today. I hope that your belief in Avini grows today with what you hear. And with that, I would like to go ahead, Marcy, let me bring you on and let you share some of your story, and then we'll go from there and maybe share something about our testimonials too, and see where this leads us. So Marcy, come on and give your background and how you arrived here in Avini Health.
Awesome. Be happy to. And I appreciate and love your story. And I'm going to tell a little piece of your story. I can't remember. I'm sure I've told you many times, but I'm going to remind you of the telling anyway today. When our best story is about finding network marketing, because we weren't looking for network marketing, and I was avoiding all the network marketers that would show up on my RV lot shopping for their dream coach. They're dreaming of a motorhome or a fifth wheel or a travel trailer, and they come on my RV lot, and they might spend a half a day, and they're envisioning their dreams, but instead of envisioning their dreams, they got to know how everything works. They want a full demonstration of everything in the product. It happens over and over and over again. And I got to the place where I say, "Oh, are you in Amway?" Because they had such a big benefit program for imagining where you want to be, see yourself in. So they'd come take pictures and see themselves in my RVs. I call them my decoys. And I had $4.5 million worth of decoys sitting on the RV lot. And that's what Chip and I were doing. We bought the RV business after me spending time. I've been self-employed since I was 13 or 11, maybe, with the paper route. Anyway, so off you go doing all these fun, wonderful things. And I was busy at work, and a little cowboy walked in on my RV lot. And he took a little circle out of his pocket and put it in my hand. He said, "Man, you have a lot of," first, before he did that, he said, "Man, you have a lot of inventory, don't you?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "Isn't it interesting? But I have all these big, gorgeous motorhomes, and people walk on the lot and they say, 'Do you have this in pink? Do you have this in blue?' Whatever color you didn't have, that's the color they want, right?" So your inventory sometimes you make a real friend out of your inventory because you're with it a long time. Well, he took this little thing out of his pocket and put it in my hand and said, "That's my inventory." I like the idea of his inventory better than I liked the interest on mine, because in the RV business, we had to own everything. We literally had a floor plan of $4.5 million running continually. We had a $5 million floor plan that we kept about $4.5 million. That's crazy because that was in the 90s, guys. That's when $1 million was $1 million. And we started ultra engineering our imagination in network marketing then. Interesting, as Rob said, we met in Fresno doing meetings and get-togethers. And when Gary came to our booth at the Denver Stock Show, which we did every year for 17 years, and it wasn't because we were rodeoing, it was because we set up that booth when I was carrying around my little disc that became my inventory, right? But what I loved about her story was, remember, when my business changed, what I was promoting in my booth changed. The very first year is when, or I'm sorry, that's not true. I think it was 2006 when Gary came in, and we had actually been with Rick for a year and a half at that time, probably. And anyway, so we were enjoying our moment. And I said to Gary, Gary, do you ever see Robben and Mark West? He said, I do. I said, I've been thinking, she's been on my mind, and I'd really love to talk to her. You should tell her to call me. That's the part that you might not remember or may not remember the story. But that's the funny thing was, she did call me, and she called me while we were still at the booth. And we started talking, and the end result of that is, of course, Robben's in this business. And we became, as she said, we are best friends. We have had some of the best times of our lives together. We've shared some of the worst. We've been through some stuff. You know what? I think when you go through stuff, it's how you learn to live with the good stuff. It's how you dedicate and rededicate yourself to the good stuff. I believe we made a merry trail. I learned so much in the first 17 and a half years that I was with this product before Avini became part of this product. I say we imaginary engineered the company you're looking at today, because it was the dream of my heart for 15 years that Rick be able to control his own opportunity and mine. So I'm delighted to say this has been a 2-year honeymoon with Avini Health and Neil and Rick and Doug and everybody. Although many of the people that are involved with me were involved because they had health issues, and they came to me with a health issue. And what happened is that statistically, my numbers were better than the numbers the doctors were giving them. And that's how we literally met and interfaced our business. When I tried to sell my business, my reason we had the RV business is because my parents couldn't sell it. And so we took it over and bought it from my parents so they could retire. And then when we wanted to move on to our dream of network marketing, we were ready to do that in our first year of network marketing. And it took me a year to sell it and less than 90 days for him to screw it up. And he did not pay off the floor plans. He didn't do any of the contractual agreements. So I wound up with all these all the RVs back, and I was selling them off his lot. So I had to stay working at the RV business after it was not even to my benefit, except that if I wanted something of my inventory to sell, he would sell his inventory and not mine. So I had to be there, and I sold his inventory and mine. So let me tell you, it was interesting times. Money is an incredible driving force for people. But for me, from the beginning, it was about saving lives and making a difference. And I've always been involved with products that did that. But I've always also been the one they would come behind me and say, she's not doing this right. She's talking about the products. She's not doing this right. But it seemed that the people who were doing what I was doing were the ones that were most successful in every company I've been in. So I love that. I love the fact that this is a company who said product first. And I said, I'm in. This is a company that said, we want to do it that way, the family way. And I said, I'm in. every day I still say, I'm in.
Oh, beautiful, Marcy. I really appreciate that. And it makes me think about why we said yes, although I was intrigued intrigued right away when Gary got his results with his feet, pain and all of that, and not being able to walk on his feet. And the next day, after having our Cell Defender product, taking some drops in his mouth, he could walk again and he was ecstatic. And it's interesting because Gary didn't want to do it as a business, but he said,
Right.
you need to call Marcy and Chip and get involved. So he bought product, but that was it. He had been done with that type of marketing, was on to other things. But that was so incredible that we connected. And I trusted you. I just, from day one, I just said, okay, if this is good for you and Chip, I know it must be good. And so Mark and I bought the biggest package that they had, and we started using the product. And at that time, we were both working in the window covering installing and doing draperies. And at that time, they still did draperies. Now you don't really see draperies that much, but we did shutters and blinds, and they were heavy, and I do a lot of the lifting, and it was just stressful on the body, and I was a mess. I did not realize how much of a health mess I was in until I started taking the product and getting better. But I was going through that change in life that women do. I was in my, I think, about 45, or excuse me, about 46 or 47, and I was having hot flashes. I was having anxiety every day, which I'd never had before. It was so embarrassing. Like about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd have anxiety. And what is this? I had never experienced that. I had something on my scalp that was causing it to have terrible dandruff and itch and burn, and it was just miserable. And so when I started on taking Rick's zeolite product, the Cell Defender, I started doing what you suggested, and I took it 5 times a day, and it would be equivalent to 5 drops 5 times a day today. And it was amazing, Marcy. Within 3 days, as you remember, and this just blows me away every time I share it, within 3 days, the anxiety disappeared. I had no more anxiety at all. And then the hot flashes came down a little bit, diminished some, and the scalp issue started going away within a couple weeks. It was gone, no problems. Then Rick brought out his beautiful mushroom combination, which is our Zimmunity today. And I took several of those a day. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 capsules, 3 times a day. And within a couple of weeks, I just stopped having hot flashes. I once in a great while I would have one, but the beautiful balance that was happening to my body, I was so surprised. And I became younger. I felt better, and I probably feel better today than I did then. And I do want to say I've had struggle all my years as the help my health history, but some that are listening may not know that I had that scar tissue in the uterus. I was never able to have children. It was painful most of my life, and had just terrible cycles, all of that kind of thing. And there's a lot of women out there that are dealing with that. So I wanted to bring that up. And I wanted to pass this back to you, although I do want to share one other of my favorite family testimonials. And then I'm going to let Marcy take over because she has been so amazing at helping our family get our health back, extend years of quality for older family members, be in a crisis with Rick's products. I don't know what our family would have done without Rick Deitch in our life, and Marcy and Chip. I am so thankful that we've had these products and been able to help our bodies heal themselves and be an anti-age, instead of feeling now at 66 that I'm old and over the hill. I don't. I feel vital and healthy and vibrant, and I'm useful, and I've got superpowers, and I'm using them in Avini. And part of that is loving other people enough to speak out and share with them the hope that Avini's given our family. But with our family, we have 2 young boys. At that time, 2 young boys, they were 4 and 6, and they were on the spectrum of autism, and they were very low functioning. Were both in diapers. The oldest one was in school for autism, preschool for autism. The youngest one could not go to preschool because he was so angry. He also has an issue that from birth that caused him to be angry. And he was also having those, I don't know if it's not making medical claim, but he had seizures from
Short
2 years
circuiting
old.
of the brain.
Thank you. Thank you. And so they had him on medication for that. And we started him on the cell defender. Their mom did. She trusted us, trusted Marcy and Chip, knew them, knew that it was safe from reading the scientific information and hearing Rick explain. It's totally safe. Everyone can use it. No one can be allergic to it. It's amazing. It goes in and does its beautiful getting rid of the toxic load and the poisons out of the body and creating an atmosphere where parasites don't like to be. And it's just an amazing product. And it just goes in and out within 3 to 4 or 5 hours. It's out of the body and taking those poisons. So she started giving it to the boys, and we started slow. Marcy gave us a recommendation of doing 2 drops twice a day. That did that for a couple of days, and they went to 3 drops twice a day, and then 3 drops 3 times a day. But I told their mom, "You're in charge," and that's the beautiful thing. Marcy always taught us the parents get to be in charge. You can't hurt them. What if this is your missing link that changes your child's life, no matter what age? And so that's what we did. And they started becoming the young boys that God meant them to be. They started speaking sentences in 2 weeks' time after taking the cell defender. Our family was ecstatic. And we said, "Oh my goodness, what do we have our hands on? We've got to share it." And then it just got better and better. The youngest one came off his medication, didn't have any of those episodes, didn't have the anger issues, was able to go to school the next year. The oldest one was not only going back at a higher or just being able to socialize, but he was also helping the other children with their schoolwork. And it just kept getting better and better from there. And now they are 20 and 22, very high functioning young men, beautiful young men that have jobs, are just doing great. So with that, Marcy, and you and Chip have just been miraculous for our family, amazing friends, but also so helpful. I'm just going to pass that on back to you and let you share whatever is on your heart from that.
Okay, all of it. It's always on my heart. First thing I want to point out is one of the reasons Robben was in distress, so heavily in distress at that time, was that when they added their new business to their lives, they added a whole group of killer toxins, new wood and the woven wood draperies. And she was bringing those into her house, opening the packages, checking all of them to be sure it was the right size, to be sure it was the right this, the right that, unwrapping these wrapped up drapery, not especially the woven woods and the wooden shutters were so harmful. And of course the drapes were too, because the chemicals they use on them. But the woven woods, I said, "Rob, you got to get out of this business," because the business you're in is totally toxic. We have people that wash off their deck and wash it off into their vegetable gardens, and they're poisoning themselves. If they're poisoning themselves, what are you doing when you're opening up those woven woods and letting all that stuff into the area where you live? And it wasn't very long at all that when Rob started opening those outside, she called me and she said, "I can't believe the difference. I air them outside. Sure, she's still exposed. She's going to handle them. She's going to this, that, and the other thing when they hang them. But the difference between opening the packages and having all that poison that was held inside the package, even if it was only 5 days worth, if it was 50 days worth, if it was however long, remember that was being released right where she's breathing, right where and not only that, where she's living. So that toxic shock that Rob had was literally everything she acquired from birth to then. And it was a lot. And when she started accumulating when she and Mark started accumulating by being in the kind of work they were doing, not that the Frosty Freeze wasn't hard on her or on them, but that last episode of engineered work was costing them gravely and greatly. So I'm so happy that she brought that up, because it's a essential thing for all of us to remember. If you still go send your stuff to the cleaners, Don't open the bags in the house. Don't do that kind of thing. If there's a way for you to take even something that was shipped to you that you ordered online, open it up, take it outside, let it have some time in the sun before it takes your sun away. That little bit about that. And Robben came along at a time in our business with the Cell Defender product that she came along at a time where we were experiencing miracles. We were talking about walking around putting with miracles in our pockets, and it was true. We were seeing evidence with kids with autism, which is simply bogged down by all the things that they're exposed to, whether it came from birth. And we know that 293 toxins are delivered via the umbilical cord from mothers to children. And here's a fun thought. I thought of this the other day and am remembering that I was told this by a great healer who used to be a doctor who became a naturopath and holistic 100%, gave up his medical license. This is not Peter. This is not our guy that did our autism. But he said to me that why mothers are closest to sons, the umbilical cord for a boy child, is shorter and more directly connected to the mother. Isn't that an interesting thought? And I said, how do we know that? They know by the delivery of the umbilical cord. But I just found that to be an interesting fact. And it does explain that special connection that moms have with their sons. It's interesting. I can't tell you the excuse why we girls are often closer to our fathers. But anyway, interesting thing, right? As we started using the product, I had 2 young boys I used it on that were being raised by, one was being raised by his aunt and the other one was her direct child, but they were like twins. And interestingly enough, their fathers were twins. And those 2 boys were the beginning of autism and Cell Defender. And their lives changed forever. And they are an integral part of society, and they're giving back in ways you can't imagine. One is a computer generated genius, like Rick Deitch, who I say is a Chip says he's a computer generated genius. He wasn't generated by the computer, but he knows how to take ideas and computerize them so that he can predetermine then experiments with moving the actual ingredients together and so forth. So very interesting. So anyway, my favorite line when I'm talking to parents of autistic children, and in this case, I was talking to Robben, I said, I can give you the one thing with this product that they have not had with their child. And that is, you're in control. You get to choose. It can't hurt them. You choose whether you want to do it fast or slow. And I don't object to how you choose, as long as you choose to use it. If you use it, you'll have victory. If you don't use it, it can't help you. And so if the bottle is sitting there with the plastic still on the outside, it can't help you. It can't save the people you love. It can't change the lives of the people you love. You have to open the bottle. So I tell people open more than one bottle so they don't feel guilty when they walk by it and see it on the kitchen counter. If there's one by the stool in the bathroom, one by your chair in the living room, one where you never said anymore because you got to tell everybody about this. But in truth, that control factor is how people become confident. They gain their faith in me, in my product. They buy you. Please remember, when you're talking to people, they're buying you. They're not buying what you're selling. They're buying your confidence, your passion, your commitment, your desire to help. They're buying that. So if you're showing up with your bucket half empty, get with one of us and get your bucket filled with promise, commitment, and know without doubt. If you have doubts about your product line, or if you're just brand new and you're just figuring this out, Don't figure it out by yourself. Go to somebody that has such a strong conviction that you can run on their conviction for a while. Let them be the A in your ABC calls to the people you care about. When I tell people, call the first 3 people that would say yes because you did, call those people first. Get your first yeses right out of the gate. By the way, call those people with someone as an A, and you'll get 3 yeses, not 1. Remember, you said yes to that person, or you said yes to this product. You said yes to this company. If you said yes, why wouldn't you assume that others will see what you saw? Be sure they hear the story. Be sure they hear from you, your passion, your commitment. You might want to try this is one thing. If you're saying to somebody, you wouldn't want to try this, would you? No. Now let me make a recommendation, Rob. Can I make a recommendation? Can I suggest to you that you put both feet flatly on the floor? You put your hand on the phone. You look up the number in advance, and you have a one-liner setting in front of you that you have said to yourself so many times that it becomes a piece of you, a part of you. We have the solution to your body's pollution was that for us for so many years. Rob and Glenna and I, and so many others. Glenna actually had it on the side of her car. And I'm telling you that as we're thinking of this, would you, if you could take a shower on the inside every day, would you do that? Of course you would. Would it benefit your body to be cleaner inside out? Of course it would. So we don't have to convince the world anymore that there are toxins. We don't have to convince the world that it's polluted. But what we do have to say is that I represent, my partners and I represent a company that literally has a product that was mixed by the hand of God at the time of creation. Is there anything more powerful than that? I always get myself first. But that's the truth. And beyond everything else, know that there's nothing more powerful in the universe than a volcano and the power of the sea. If you could harness that, what would that be? You don't have to. God did it for you. Also, he inspired Rick. First of all, he gave him the gift of this incredible genius that he is. But he also inspired him to find something that would help people through disease, discomfort, and despair. To create something more powerful than has ever existed before. He made Cell Defender. You don't have to make it. Isn't that great? You don't have to make it. He not only makes it, but here in Avini, he makes it. He came up with the formulation. He created the formulation. He actually created the entire category. And by engineered direction, he came up with a product that can't hurt you, but might save your life. And if it saves your life, how many people are you going to tell? And how would you not tell people if you knew there was a possibility? If their numbers were crazy, like mine were, impossible to defeat. All you have to do is reach out. Hold the hand of somebody who already has the answers. Invite them to share with your friend. You're passionate. Your passion is just, if your passion is just beginning, hang on, you're in for the ride of your life. If you're passionate, and some people didn't even know that about you, and you show up passionate about this product, if you show up on purpose with your passion in the bucket, they'll see that and they'll say yes. Robin did. I'm passing it back in case you couldn't tell.
I got it. Thank you, Marcia. I was a little slow. I was taking notes. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. We glean so much from you, and we have such beautiful leaders here that care about each other. and Dave Johnson and Valerie Johnson also. I want to mention them because this is their Zoom, their Saturday morning Zoom, and we get to just host it for them. But I also wanted to
We're so tickled to be here.
I know, it's so much fun. But I also wanted to mention Nikki. Her superpower is technology. I've just gotten to know Nikki. She takes care of this call and many other things for several people, Dave included. And Nikki, thank you so much for being here and helping Marcy and I, because that is not one of our superpowers. And so we rely on you to do that. And we love that. But what a beautiful Avini family we have here. If you're someone who's looking to be part of something amazing where we care and love for each other, but we're also creating excitement for the world and sharing hope with the world that is in such desperate need, whether you're looking for to be in part of something huge and that's just dynamic, as Marcy said, just so inspiring to be in part of, or if you're also looking for a financial income and you want to be, we've got both here. We get to have a lot of fun and we get paid to do it extremely well. So we want to invite you to be part of us. And can I make a recommendation that if you're brand new and you're taking a look at this, make sure you get your questions answered. Go back to the person that invited you to this call and ask them, get all your questions answered so you can make your decision for you and your family. And then I recommend that you buy the biggest package that you can afford and get your family on it and get your own miracles happening. And come back and tell us. That's what inspires us to continue going and knowing that we're just helping the people around us. You are special. We'd love to have you be a part of our Avini family. So we welcome you, we invite you. And so thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, Marcy, for being here with me today. I just thank you for sharing your love and all of your knowledge that you did today. We appreciate each and every one of you that are here. And we'll meet you on the next call. Make sure if you're brand new, we have tremendous support here already. Just in our young 2 years of being in Avini Health, we have amazing support. We have an amazing, I love the avinihealthtraining.com site where there is everything just accumulating there from all the leaders and everyone who shares their knowledge and their help. So you're welcome to go on that, and beautiful testimonials on that call too. I just love that about what we have. So Marcy, any last words as we close out the call?
Maybe one. I talked about one specific product, and we did talk about Zimunity. We're a company of products. Each of them is a gift from God. But when you know that one was literally divinely created, and I believe then the person who created that product was divinely led, and that all of those things are blessing this company, it makes our decisions we make easier. So what I brought to share with you today may be as valuable to you as oxygen. Yeah, this product might be as valuable to you as oxygen. If you're being robbed of that, of oxygen, of course it is. Everyone needs it. Virtually no one knows about it. When you talk to people, you're not talking to somebody that if they know about it, they only know a tiny amount and don't realize that they need it. Everyone needs it. So everyone needs it, but virtually no one knows the facts about it. I'm asking for your help today. I'm literally saying to you, even if you've all been involved for a long time, today we get to rewrite or write from the beginning. If you're new, right from the beginning, we get to write your story. We get to start today. And that start means you start taking the product. As you start taking the product and learning how to take the product and taking more of the product and discovering more about the product, disease, discomfort, and despair, those 3 things are gone from your life. And you start telling other people, remember, you start writing it today. Let's do that. This is your book of life. Start a new chapter. Even if you knew all the stuff yesterday, but you didn't get something written in your book, let's get it written today. Thanks, Rob. It was great being on, of course.
Yeah, a lot of fun. We have fun together, and we're going to have more. We're just getting started. He's so young, and yet here all that we're having so much fun. We have so many beautiful people involved, and we're just going to just explode here. So we're excited about that. Be a part of it if you'd like. Thank you, Nikki. We appreciate you today. We're gonna say goodbye for now.